We turned our back on ordinary from the start. We look for stranger things, 'cause that's just who we are. Find me the edge of something beautiful and loud. Show me the sky falling down. Castles glitter under Spanish skies, but I'm just looking out for you tonight. Snow white mountains and an ancient place. Tell me someday we'll get there. Someday. Stranger things, stranger things, stranger things, places like this, that's just who we are. Stranger things, stranger things, stranger things, places like this, that's just who we are. Stranger things, stranger things, stranger things, places like this, that's just who we are. Stranger things, stranger things, stranger things, places like this, that's just who we are. Stranger things, stranger things, stranger things, places like this, that's just who we are. Dreams where nobody else. Give your tears to the tide.
Good morning, Assalamu alaikum, and a very good morning to members of the board of Maybank Asset Management, senior management of Maybank Investment Banking Group, our esteemed guests from Maybank CFS, members of the media, and our distinguished guests. Welcome to the launch of Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution, a retirement solution that is tailored for your future. My name is Belkaizi, and I will be the MC on today's important, very important milestone for Maybank Asset Management as we embark on another journey to make investing the way it should be. Simple, accessible, and beneficial to everyone. And today, with Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution, our aim is to ensure that all of our investors are prepared for retirement. We understand that we're supposed to guide and plan for our investors on their retirement, but ultimately, you need to decide how you want your retirement planning to work for you. and not a one-size-fits-all that does not take into account your unique life stage, your unique persona, and your unique retirement goals. So today, to kick off the launch of Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution, we will have an opening remark by our very own CEO, Najib Nazlan, and then we'll invite Ahmad Muzni, the CEO of Maybank Islamic Asset Management, to go through with us the main topic of the day, retirement. Are we ready for retirement? Do we have enough for retirement? And more importantly, how do we find a solution that is flexible and adaptable to supplement our retirement savings? So without further ado, let me invite Najib Nazlan, the CEO of Maybank Asset Management Group and Maybank Asset Management Sdn Bhd. Najib, over to you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi, and a very good morning to our esteemed board of directors, Maybank Asset Management Group and Maybank Asset Management Sdn Bhd, Maybank Group and Maybank Investment Banking Group senior management, distinguished guests, members of the media, and my fellow colleagues from Maybank. Last but not least, our valued clients and also investors. Thank you for taking the time to join us this morning to witness the launch of Maybank's first flexible retirement solution. Ladies and gentlemen, many of you in the audience are probably in the prime of your life and have been building towards a comfortable retirement nest egg. And maybe some of you are in the beginning of your careers and haven't really thought of retirement because it's such a long way off. But retirement planning shouldn't be something you think about only when you're older. Planning for retirement starts whenever you're ready, regardless of your life stage. And because life can be unpredictable, it is important that your retirement plans are geared towards attaining your goals while still be flexible enough for changes along the way. Folks, today we would like to share with you Maybank's first Sharia-compliant, flexible retirement-focused fund to supplement and diversify your retirement planning. The solution comprises of two new global Sharia-compliant mixed asset funds, and for the first time, investors can choose between Maybank Global Wealth Moderate I Fund or Maybank Global Wealth Growth I Fund, tailored for your retirement planning. The beauty of Maybank's flexible retirement solution is that we have reframed the traditional age-based approach to retirement planning and made it appeal to a wider audience by designing a solution based on understanding and targeting our clients' various life cycle, time horizons, and also financial goals. The solution comprises of two new global Sharia-compliant mixed assets, and investors of different segments will be able to choose what levels of risk to take, be it moderate or growth, and have the flexibility to decide on how their retirement planning should fit their goals and also needs. Now, the solution aims to achieve capital growth over the medium to long term with a target return of 6 to 8% per annum and are incorporated with a capital preservation strategy. Furthermore, in applying Sharia filters to the investment process, the funds are able to capture better quality assets, which translates into a more resilient portfolio and better investment experience for our investors. So now even young working adults can invest in a solution that's tailored to their requirements as they go through different life stages. As our campaign line aptly sums it up, your future, your choice. We are proud to be launching this together with our key partner, Schroders Investment Management Singapore Limited, as our investment advisor. Schroders is currently one of the biggest offshore providers of Sharia solutions in Malaysia, managing over 2.2 billion worth of assets with a track record of more than 10 years in Sharia solutions and 30 years in multi-asset portfolio management. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID and its fallout has negatively impacted a significant number of households financially. as they had to withdraw hard-earned funds and retirement savings to weather through the crisis. Against the backdrop of higher inflation and cost of living, market volatility, and longer life expectancy, we need to inculcate the importance of supplementing one's existing retirement accounts as early as possible to ensure a financial safety net for the future. Therefore, we are confident such an innovative solution will find traction with investors. Without further ado, I will let my esteemed colleague, Muzni, Chief Executive Officer, Maybank Islamic Asset Management, to take you through the details of our flexible retirement solution. Once again, thank you for joining us and being a part of another important milestone in Maybank Asset Management. Thank you. Stay safe. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you, Najib, for the introduction. I'm going to start by asking, are we ready for retirement? Also, I'm going to echo the statement made by Najib earlier in his opening remarks. Like myself, I believe many of you in the audience have been building towards a comfortable retirement nest egg. And maybe some of you, at the beginning of your careers, haven't really thought of it because retirement is such a long way off. But retirement planning should not only be something we think about when we are older. Planning for retirement starts whenever we are ready, regardless of our life stage, because life can be unpredictable. It is important that our retirement plan is geared towards attaining our goals while still be flexible enough for course corrections along the way. Now, all of us dream that we are able to first, regularly set aside a portion of our salary towards saving and investment to build that retirement fund. 2, stop working at the age of 60 and withdraw from that fund to support our lifestyle. And 3, live with the same pre-retirement spending and lifestyle even after retirement. However, the actual reality is tough. Much tougher than what we imagine it to be, that we choose not to openly talk about it. Low financial literacy among Malaysians means we do not save enough. To the majority of us, whatever we are forced to put aside in the EPF, that represents our one and only retirement savings plan. Even then, our savings are usually insufficient, forcing us to sometimes to work beyond the age of 60. When I was a lot younger, I dreamt that I could stop working at the age of 50 and then spend the balance of my golden years traveling to see the world. But a couple of financial crises later, here I am. Often more than not, life throws us with curveballs. Life is not a straight line. The only thing certain in life is that it is full of uncertainties, the unexpected hiccups, the road bumps and diversions that life throws along the way. It is not just a problem between you and me. Retirement or retirement savings is a national problem. A huge portion of Malaysians are without any form of financial protection. Even for those with EPF, most do not meet the even basic minimum retirement requirement. Here are some statistics from EPF which we'd like to share. Almost 50% rely on EPF as their main source of income for retirement. 68% of the contributors do not meet the basic minimum amount for retirement of 240,000 as suggested by EPF. While 240,000 may sound like a big number to you and me, in reality, that is equivalent to having a fixed income of 1,000 ringgit per month every month for the next 20 years. That is not much, is it? And most alarmingly, 70% of those aged 54 and above have less than 50,000 ringgit in their EPF savings. If they are to withdraw 1,000 ringgit each month to support their retirement expenses, the money is enough to last them for only 50 months, or approximately just over 4 years. On top of it all, we are living longer. The Malaysian population, much like the global trend, is fast aging. People in general are living longer with birth rates are declining. This has resulted in the percentage of older age inhabitants compared to the entire population to be increasing every year. Department of Statistics Malaysia showed that those aged 60 and above represents 11.2% of the Malaysian population in 2021, up from 10% in 2018. With a better standard of living, Malaysia's life expectancy too has improved. In 2021, the average life expectancy in Malaysia is 75.6 years. This aging society translates to a longer period of consumption during old age. Hence, more cash reserves are needed during retirement period. In addition to that, cost of living is on the rise, with inflation eating away our purchasing power. And among all, medical costs are getting higher every year. This is especially true for Malaysia, which ranks among the highest in ASEAN region for 2021. Now, let's recap. We don't have savings or enough savings, we are living longer, and costs are on the rise. Now, in time of crisis, how long can we survive? In a recent survey conducted by Department of Statistics, during the initial movement control order, the following hard and brutal truth has been revealed about the current state of our savings, including retirement savings. 60% of Malaysians, on average, do not have sufficient financial savings. 50% have stated that they can survive financially if the lockdown is extended for another 1 month. But only 10% have stated that they can survive if the lockdown were to be extended for 3 months. How much do we need for retirement actually? Well, this is really a subjective question, and it varies from one person to another. It is about the lifestyle we'd like to have once we decide to retire. Again, depending on the lifestyle we choose, the funds needed to support it would be different. But as a rule of thumb, most of us would say that we'd like to enjoy more or less the same lifestyle that we enjoy just before retiring. Now, if you're like me, you said that you would like to enjoy the same lifestyle you had before retiring, then we would need our retirement fund to provide approximately 70 to 80% of our pre-retirement income. To put that in perspective, if my last drawn salary is 15,000 a month, I will probably need post-retirement income of around 10 to 11,000 to support the lifestyle I enjoyed before retiring. Now, how much retirement savings do I need for that? To withdraw 10,000 ringgit a month for my retirement funds, and assuming I retire at the age of 60 and life expectancy is 75 years, I will probably need to have a lump sum value of 1.8 million in my retirement fund when I retire. Cool, that's 1.8 million ringgit. But the reality is a bit more different. It is more difficult to achieve. Now, according to EPF, the average savings by an active member at the age of 54 is only 200,000 ringgit, not 1.8 million. If I were to spend 3,000 ringgit a month to pay for my expenses, I probably can survive for the next 5 to 6 years before I run out of money. Now, cutting back and giving myself only 1,000 ringgit a month for my expenses, that money would last me for the next 15 years. 1,000 ringgit a month certainly is not enough for me. Now, on top of it all, traditional investment instruments have their limitation. The message I would like to impart today is that we need to supplement our retirement savings because what we think we may have is not going to be enough. Not only do we need to supplement it, we also need to diversify our retirement savings. The traditional instruments that we are comfortable with have their own set of limitations. Savings, while provide the liquidity that we need and carries the minimal risk, it does nothing to protect your capital against long-term inflation. Other investment instruments carry a much higher risk and are not specifically designed for retirement purposes. The opposite extreme is property and real estate investment. It is almost a natural hedge against inflation. However, it is not readily accessible to everyone. Its yield may be impacted during market downturn, and it definitely is not liquid. Modern age requires modern solution. Modern investors need to tackle modern day challenges. Throughout a life cycle, numerous events are encountered, each requiring different investment solutions. The need to adapt to this situation is important to the life of a modern investor. Instead of the traditional, simplistic, age-based approach, retirement planning should be designed around an investor's persona and unique life phases or life events. It must be a retirement solution and not merely a retirement fund. Investors of different segments and lifestyle should be able to choose what levels of risk to take and have the flexibility to decide on how their retirement planning should fit their goals and needs according to the lifestyle. With that, I would like to present to you the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution.
Thank you. Thank you, Najib. Thank you, Muzni, for your opening remarks and presentation. So there you go. We have officially launched the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution. And again, the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution is a retirement solution tailored and designed specifically for your future. So let me just give a recap from the video that was shown a little bit. Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution is to supplement your retirement savings. We do understand that a lot of people out there have some sort of retirement planning in place, such as your EPF, your savings, or even properties. But like what Muzni mentioned earlier, it's simply not sufficient. And even if you do have some sort of retirement nest egg in place, it might not be specifically designed for retirement. So there are some limitations. It might not be liquid enough. It might not have a capital preservation strategy, or it might not generate the returns you need for your retirement. So it is very important for us to supplement those retirement savings. Secondly, the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution is flexible and adaptable. Generally or traditionally, when it comes to retirement planning, those plans does not take into account your changing life stage, changing lifestyle, or changing retirement needs, right? Traditionally, the solutions are adopting an age-based approach where when you're younger, you're investing in riskier assets. When you're older, you're investing in more conservative assets, which is not the case today. A modern day needs a modern solution. So you need to find a solution that is flexible and adaptable to meet your changing lifestyle, life stage needs, and also your changing retirement needs. And also, from what we've learned during the pandemic, a flexible solution for retirement that is accessible during a time of crisis, right? During the time when we need it the most. Thirdly, when it comes to Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution, you have the option to invest into 2 Sharia-compliant funds that targets a 6 to 8% return, an attractive return profile when planning for your retirement. And more importantly, when it comes to retirement, we need to preserve our capital. Yes, generating returns is important, but we need to protect the downside risk. So the two funds under the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution adopts a capital preservation strategy, meaning that although the fund managers will try to achieve the target returns, they will protect the downside risk in times of a market downturn. In times of a difficult market conditions, we will protect the downside risk. So let me introduce to you again the two funds under Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution. One, we have the Maybank Global Wealth Moderate I Fund, and the other Maybank Global Wealth Growth I Fund. So these two funds are Sharia compliant mixed assets fund, investing in global Sharia compliant equities, global sukuk, and other Islamic diversifying assets. And the objective of these two funds is pretty simple, is to dynamically seek the right mix of assets to achieve or to generate potential higher returns and protect downside risks. So in other words, at any point of time, in any market cycle, these funds will shift its allocation from equities to sukuk to other assets, depending on the market, to generate those returns, and more importantly, if there's a market downturn, to protect the downside risk. So two funds to meet different risk profiles, to meet different needs. And not only that, under the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution, we would like to also introduce and offer two distinguished share classes. One, an accumulation class to basically focus on capital appreciation. You invest in the accumulation class if you want to grow, build, accumulate your investments. Or we also have a distribution class available to you if you want your retirement solution to basically generate income for you to supplement your expenses, pre-retirement or post-retirement, right? So our Maybank Global Wealth Moderate I Fund would have a distribution class that targets a sustainable income stream of 2 to 2.5% to support your expenses pre and post-retirement. So there you go. We have officially launched our Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution. Remember, your future, your choice. And before I wrap this part of the session, I would just like to say, if you want to subscribe or you are interested to know more about the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution, please visit any Maybank branch or contact your Maybank relationship managers and or your personal financial advisors. With that, I would like to say thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for your support. We really do appreciate it. We're going to move on now to the Q&A session. So for the members of the media, I would kindly request for you to stay on for the Q&A session. For our distinguished guests, if you have any questions on the solution or to the management, please do stay on and join us during the Q&A session as well. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We'll be starting our Q&A session very soon. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much for the members of the media for staying on for the Q&A session, and thank you so much for the audience as well. It seems that we have a lot of audiences that stayed on. I think we have a lot of questions to ask you guys here. So before we start, let me just go through how it works. So if you do have any questions for the panelists here, type in your questions on the Q&A tab that's available on your Zoom account, and I will pick up those questions here and I will address it to our panelists. So let me introduce again our panelists. First of all, we have Ahmad Muzni, the CEO for Maybank Islamic Asset Management. We have Najib Nazlan, the CEO of Maybank Asset Management Group and Maybank Asset Management Sdn Bhd. And welcome Shiful Zamri, our CIO for Maybank Asset Management. Thank you, Shifu, for joining us today. So I think let us start with first question first. Let me just give me some time here to go through. I think we have a question that was posted even before the Q&A session. I think people were curious about the solution. Najib, what are the main differences of this Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution versus the traditional retirement solutions like your PRS, for example?
Right. Assalamualaikum. I think very simply, I think we can simplify the explanation into the following points. One is the traditional retirement solutions typically adopt an age-based approach. Simply put, the younger people would take on more risk while the older folks would take on less risk. Now, our solution adopts a more flexible approach. So it gravitates between moderate and growth solutions. And also the investor base would have the flexibility in choosing the share classes, whether it's a distribution share class or an accumulation share class. And understanding the needs of our investor base, sometimes there is emergencies that you can't foresee. Investors can actually withdraw from the following funds without penalties. So it's flexibility at its best. Right?
Okay. Thank you, Najib, for that answer. I hope that answers your question that was posted before the Q&A session. We have a question for Shiful. I think this investment-related question on the strategy. Again, what are the target returns for the funds under Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution? And can you please elaborate more on the capital preservation strategy of the funds?
Thanks, Bell. Okay, I think before this, we have heard the launching of these two funds, the Maybank Global Wealth Moderate as well as Maybank Global Wealth Growth. So both are unique in nature. Basically, we are targeting 6 to 8% for both funds. The difference is basically on the risk appetite of the potential investors in these two funds. Okay, for the moderate funds, basically we are more tilted towards sukuk to have a more capital preservation in nature as compared to the growth, where we are obviously will have to have more equities to support the higher returns expected by the investors. But I would say these two funds will have a good dynamic asset allocation attributes, because that is very key in managing funds during this volatile period, especially now when we are facing interest rate hike cycles. As we know that the Fed start to raise their interest rate eventually this year. It's just a quantum that now people are expecting. Probably slightly higher as compared to what we expected earlier. So this kind of a situation that we're in requires dynamic asset allocation that we are already imputed into these funds to help us to manage the volatility to get the capital preservation as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Shivu. So basically, the dynamic asset allocation is very key here in the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution in terms of their capital preservation strategy. Yeah. All right, so Muslim, this is a question for you. Who's the target market for this Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution, and where will it be sold, distributed, basically?
Thank you, Bell, for that question. I think the main target for this fund or this solution is the mass. It's the people like you and me. You know, although our age group may not be the same, but in reality, this solution is meant for anybody and everybody, irrespective in which life stage or life cycle they may be in. Okay. While we do understand that everybody at some stage or even would probably have some form of retirement savings already in place. Now, this solution is to supplement what you already have. We're not saying that take all the money from there and put it in here. No, this is something that you need to have to supplement what we already have existingly. Okay, and why we say that is because whatever you have, you think you may have today, we believe it's not enough to be in the future. Now, I've shown 3 statistics just now. Number 1 is that, according to EPF at least, the savings is not enough. And number 2, that through better standard of living, we are living longer. And thirdly, is that cost of living is on the rise, especially on medical care. So that's the whole point. So you need to have more than just what you already have today, and this is one way that which you can supplement it. It's somewhat different from the rest of the existing available products because it's flexible in the real sense, and therefore this is something that one should consider to have, irrespective at what life stage you are right now. And of course, where do you can have this thing? It's available in all Maybank branches. It's just one phone call away. All you need to do is to talk to your relationship manager or your personal financial advisors.
Right, thank you, Muzdi. So to answer some of the questions here, we have also from Bernama when this retirement fund can be subscribed by people. So today is the official launch of the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution. So it is available in Maybank exclusively. So if you are interested to subscribe, please visit any Maybank branch or contact your RMs or personal financial advisors. Yeah. I think I have another question here for Muzni. Let me just pop it up here. A very interesting question. Asian cultures traditionally has been encouraging their children to help their parents financially post-retirement. So how could this solution then penetrate that mindset?
Is it because of my hair that you're posing this question? Okay. Asian culture encouraging helping parents post-retirement. Well, I do think financial planning or retirement planning is more important than ever. And I think, at the risk of sounding like a broken record, I'm going to repeat the 3 facts just now. We don't have sufficient savings. 2, the standard of living today means that we are going to live longer. Well, at least compared to my parents, we are living longer at least. And 3, cost of living is on the rise, especially on medical care. Now, it's not about whether our children, my children, want or do not want to support my lifestyle post-retirement. The real question is whether they can afford it, because they too are facing these 3 facts that I've just mentioned. So, being a good parent, I would try my best to, garner my own nest egg to supplement my own retirement planning. Thanks, Bell.
Understood. Shifu, market has been very volatile lately to the possible hike of interest rate and the Fed and the Omicron hitting. So what's your view on the market for FY 2022 globally?
Thanks, Bell. Okay. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we are in the transition period where we have this environment of low interest rate for quite some time, especially after the pandemic announced. There's a lot of money thrown into the market. Okay, but that kind of a flash situation will end soon. I think the Fed already mentioned that they will do the tapering as fast as possible to the tune that will end the tapering by March, and will start the interest rate hike as soon as possible, soon after that tapering ends. So that situation basically have changed the dynamic of investment or liquidity availability in the market. Okay, so we have seen the US market have been outperforming, or developed market have been outperforming the Asian or emerging market for a couple of years, especially during the last decades. So now what we are seeing is that there's some shift in this kind of limited liquidity environment. People, investors will start to look at more fundamentally supported or driven kind of investment. Rather than buying everything in the speculative markets. I think last few years we have seen there's a lot of negative earnings. Companies have been pushed up to the roof. I mean, companies without the actual activities been priced much higher than we ever thought before. So now with this kind of limited liability going forward because of the tightening, so we have to be mindful of the areas of investment. So what we are looking at this year and going forward, we start to think that Asia will outperform the developed markets because we have a time to catch up in terms of growth. Just to give some facts that last year 2021, the developed market, US for example, have grown so much, more than 6%, as compared to us in the emerging market. Malaysia, for example, we just achieved 3.1% last year. So that kind of situation is not sustainable because we are emerging market compared to developed market. We are supposed to grow faster than the developed market. So this year and next year is going to be a turning point. You start to see some kind of shift already. Year to date, Asia already is outperforming in terms of the market performing, financial market performance against the developed market. So that is already happening, and I think that will continue to happen in the coming years.
All right. Thank you, Shifu. I think this question is for Najib. What kind of take-up rate are you expecting from, what kind of size are you expecting for this Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution? And what other funds can we expect from MAM this year?
I think with the help of our main distributor, Maybank, I think I have very high expectations with regards to the product take-up rate. And I think in so far, Maybank has not disappointed us. Now, with regards to the oncoming product suite, Bell, I think moving forward, we will see a lot more focus with regards to retirement, ESG, and also Islamic solutions coming out from Maybank Asset, not only within this country, but also in our offices throughout the region. I think we are at the onset of our journey with regards to ESG, and the Maybank Group on its own is a very strong advocate with regards to sustainability and also ESG. And at Maybank Asset, we echo this. We have actually launched a few products based on ESG and a sustainability theme, and we foresee to continue this theme, but with a little bit of uniqueness or niche, such as what you see today into retirement, and also nuances in the Islamic markets. So our focus will be again focus on retirement product solutions, ESG integrated, and also Islamic solutions moving forward. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Thanks, Najib. I have a question for Muzni here. As the external investment manager appointed by MAM for MIAM, would this work the same like ASB? In terms of capital, in terms of the guaranteed principle?
Well, no. I mean, one should look at it differently. ASB has its own set of objective and set of targeted investor base, while a retirement solution is somewhat different. Now, especially this retirement solution that we are promoting, it's not about cannibalizing what the market already have. Okay, it's merely saying that it is something, it's a supplement to what you have, and it offers a more flexible solution than what is already there in the market. Now, bear in mind, if you talk about retiring and retirement savings, there are two elements that you need to worry about. Number one is hedge against inflation, okay? And number two is that will it generate enough return for me to accumulate my wealth over a period of time to meet that retirement goal, that goal that you need? I mean, I've given an illustration that people like me, I may need 1.8 million ringgit in my account so that I can live off with 10,000 ringgit a month for the next 20 years. Now, do I have 1.8 million today? No. So the gap I need to fill is where this retirement solution will come. Now, I may have already an existing amount in my ASB, in properties and whatnot, but this is to supplement it. And just in case something hits you along the way, a crisis hits you, something happens that you need to withdraw some money, this is where you can get the money from. Does that answer the question, Bell?
Yep, understood. Shiful, we have a question on the market again. I think just now we were talking about global, now we're asking, what's your view on the Malaysian market then for 2022?
Okay, thanks, Bell. I think this is following up from my points just now. I mean, Asia will start to catch up in terms of performance against the developed market or the global markets. Asia inclusive of Malaysia as well. I think now we have seen that there's some switching into this cyclical value plays, even in Malaysia. Sectors that you've seen performing year to date, for example, like plantations, financials, those are cyclical value plays that been laggards for the past couple of years because of the focus more on the growth stocks. For example, technology, glove of a couple years ago. So now, like I mentioned, investors are looking for more value, more fundamentally driven stocks, laggards against the market, because we are already start to open up our economic activities. And then our thesis is that we may not see the lockdowns anymore, as we have the high vaccination rates and then booster shots also on the rise. So this kind of situation supporting the economic activities, our GDP number will start to bounce back as against the below the long-term average that we had last year. So this year we are expecting, let's say, for example, 5.5% to 6% GDP. So that will support the earning growth for most of our companies, the investee companies. That will translate into much better performance of our basically equities. On the fixed income side, we have seen the adjustment happen in our fixed income market, Malaysia, for example, last year. There's a lot of adjustment in the rate market last year. Just to give some example, the 10 years MGS, for example, started the year with 2.65 last year. It ended up with 3.6 level. So now, with that kind of adjustment, we don't expect any much adjustment for the fixed income. Even though the interest rate will be hike this year, we're expecting OPR probably have a one hike this year by Negara. But that adjustment, the expectation already happening last year. So we think that both asset class for Malaysian market, equities and fixed income will do well this year as compared to last year. As an asset allocation basis, we still prefer equities because that will present slightly better returns because of the reopening place and the economic activities continuation post the lockdowns. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Shiful. Najib, Sebriti Hariam wants your comment on this. Since Musli mentioned there's not enough savings when they retire, is this situation worrisome for you?
I think it's a general trend, and I think on a holistic view, I think the nation, with regards to what we're facing during the pandemic, shows structurally savings are inefficient or insufficient to last us during troubled times. Now, the trend of withdrawals from EPF is a worrisome trend, and the amount of savings for the entire population, according to the segments, as the pandemic has proven, is rather insufficient to sustain us through difficult times, more so to sustain us towards retirement. Now, it is imperative for us to inculcate the savings behavior and also plan for our retirement moving forward. As the facts that my colleagues have shared, we are seeing that people are living longer, expectancy in terms of cost and inflation is on the rise, and wage is not rising as fast as inflation. Yeah. So based on that 3 points, again, I can't stress this further. It is imperative for our investor base, for our clients, and as a reminder for ourselves, to remind ourselves, focus, plan your retirement, and focus on your savings. Yeah.
Right. Thank you, Najib. Just to address some questions here, if I may, these funds under the Maybank Flexible Retirement Solutions are new funds, so this is not a feeder fund. So we are working together with Schroders as an investment advisor. So in terms of fund size, it will start today. So we'll start raising funds for today. Currently, it doesn't have any fund size yet. Yeah, just to highlight that for to avoid some confusion. Shiful, on the strategy itself, what's the proportion of the investments in these funds that will be allocated to domestic and overseas, or is it dynamic?
Okay, as we mentioned earlier, it's going to be a dynamic asset allocation for these global wealth strategies. As the name suggests, it's a Maybank Global Wealth. So this investment allocation will be more global than the locals. So in the scheme of things, you will see there's a lot of global opportunities And then because of that global opportunities, we are more dynamic in asset allocations because we can find opportunities everywhere globally. So like I mentioned earlier, if we start to see any switch into different geography, different demographic that we will need to act on, then we'll do it. So that's why this fund is very helpful in terms of as a fund manager like me. We like this kind of fund because it provides us the flexibility to move around assets and investments globally, and also in all asset classes available for this fund. For example, sukuks. For example, we have equity, some ETFs. So this will provide a lot of flexibility, and then it will translate our views at any point in time. So like, for example, like now, when we have a view that now Asia will start to outperform developed market, obviously the asset allocation will start to skew towards more Asia companies, China, Japan, and India, for example, as compared to purely or mostly in US. For the last couple of years, if you can see global strategies, normally 70% is already in US. But going forward, I would think that there will be a lower allocation into US and then more into the other growthy sectors like Asia's. Yeah.
All right, thank you. I think I will take one last question here. Just to sum it up, I think there's another question here. How is this flexible retirement solution necessary at this point of time, Muzni?
Why is this necessary at this point of time? Again, I'm going to repeat the three facts again. Again, I'm sounding like a broken record one more time. Okay, statistically proven today, savings are insufficient. We don't have enough savings, and that's been tested during the COVID pandemic era. Okay, can't last more than even 3 months. 10% can only survive 3 months. The rest couldn't. So we don't have enough sufficient savings. Number two is that better standards of living means that we are living longer. Therefore, we need more cash reserve to survive during our retirement years. And three, cost of living is on the rise. It will never come down. All right. All the more reason that whatever money you think you have today will not be enough. And we better start to supplement our retirement savings. And this is one option that you can do so. And it offers, most importantly, flexibility. Doesn't matter in what life stage you are, there's a solution for you. Okay? So that's the reason why you should start investing, and that's the reason why you should pick Maybank flexible retirement solution.
Okay, sorry, I have one last question for Najib, actually.
Okay.
Last year you were talking about ESG. How is MAM developing its own ESG capabilities?
Now, with regards to ESG, admittedly for Maybank Asset Management, Malaysia, and as well as the group, we are at our early stages. Yeah, we are incorporating ESG principles into our investment process, and we echo very strongly what the group is a big proponent of with regards to sustainability and also ESG. But admittedly, again, we are still in the early stages. But that being said, we are one of the few that has launched ESG and also sustainable funds in the market. We are continuing to enhance our investment process with ESG principles and also sustainability principles. In that process as well, you would see the integration of ESG and also Islamic finance as part of our investment process as well. With that, I think to sum it up, our view or our investment thesis is essentially that ESG is not just a passing theme. ESG or sustainability is here to stay, and it will, in our investment thesis, provide you with sustainable long-term returns. Yeah, and also perhaps it is a small way of ours as market practitioners to contribute to humanizing investing to a certain extent. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Right. Thank you, Najib. I think that's all the questions that we have time for. So just to sum it up today, again, thank you for joining us for the launch of Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution. The Maybank Flexible Retirement Solution consists of two funds, two Sharia-compliant mixed assets funds, the Maybank Global Wealth Moderate I and Maybank Global Growth Global Wealth Growth Eye. And these funds are advised by our partner, Schroders, and it is a dynamic asset allocation fund and also Sharia compliant. Again, thank you so much for your participation on the launch event as well as the Q&A session. Thank you, Najib, Muzni, Shifu, for answering the question as well. Stay safe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Thank you, Bell.